The state Supreme Court just issued a ruling on the controversial voter ID law in that state. Catherine Culleton-Gonzalez is the director for the Voter Protection Program, the Advancement Project there. Catherine, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. As I understand it, elderly voters in your state, many people who were worried that they would be impacted by this, as well as Democrats, see the decision by the Supreme Court in that state as a victory. Why?
Well, it's not over yet, but the Pennsylvania Supreme Court just remanded the case back to the trial court to look at the facts in this case and whether Pennsylvania could actually get ID into the hands of voters who need them. So it's not over yet. We hope that the lower court on October 2nd will take another look at the facts as the Pennsylvania Supreme Court ordered them to do. The Supreme Court said that this impacts some of the most vulnerable segments of our society, the elderly, disabled, and the financially disadvantaged. And also, we know it affects African Americans and Latinos, and for no good reason, with no instances of voter fraud. There's a lot of confusion right now in Pennsylvania. It is our hope that on October 2nd, the lower court, when it makes its decision upon remand, will uphold our democracy and make sure that elections in Pennsylvania are free and fair and accessible to all, and strike down the voter ID law, because there's no good reason.
But at the heart of the breaking news here from the state Supreme Court, this court is saying we need the lower court to take a look at whether, in fact, voters could be impacted. And that is an important point. It was just yesterday during our primetime coverage, a reporter talked about the process that some people are going through in Pennsylvania, where it's taking elderly people and others up to 4 hours to get the ID that would be needed for them to vote. These are people who are forced to take off from work. These are people who may not have the transportation, and in many cases are elderly people who are now having to stand in this process, take a number. I think Chris Matthews equated it to when you used to go to the butcher shop and have to wait through this process that they've never had to endure before.
Absolutely. And this is, again, for no good reason. There are 0 instances of voter fraud, and there are about 1 million people in Pennsylvania who are in that situation, who don't have the time, don't have the money, and won't be able to get an ID before November. So we sincerely hope that the lower court reverses their decision, takes a closer look at the facts, and makes sure that this voter ID law is not in place for this November, so that our democracy is upheld. It's our most fundamental and precious value here in America, and we hope the court agrees with that.
Catherine, thank you very much for joining us with this big breaking news regarding just one of the controversial voter ID laws that are being challenged in this country. Now back to the campaign trail. Governor Romney